In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your own AI assistants using Telegram and N8N. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build any chat or voice-enabled AI agent that you or your customers can talk to using a phone. For the demo today, we're going to be building an AI agent that can completely manage your calendar on autopilot. You can easily apply this pattern to build any kind of AI agent that you like. I'm going to walk you through step-by-step how to build this agent yourself so that you can start selling or building voice-activated AI agents for yourself or for your clients. I'm Owen. I have over 15 years experience as a software engineer, manager, and executive. I'm here to help you build profitable AI systems using the latest AI coding and automation techniques. All right, so let me just quickly show you this AI automation and how it works. So essentially how this works is we have a Telegram message that comes in, and this will be either an audio message or a text message. Depending on which one it is, if it's an audio message, we're going to grab the file, we're going to transcribe the file, and then we're going to pass it into this code block. And if it's a text message, we're just going to pass it straight through into the code block. What the code block is going to do is essentially take either the transcript or the text message and just return that as an output. So the output from the code block is always just going to be a text message. Once we have that text, we're going to pass it into an AI agent. The AI agent is using Claude. It has a memory, and it also has access to 3 specific tools. It can get meetings from your calendar, it can create a meeting in your calendar, and it can also delete a meeting in your calendar. Once the agent has done its thing, it's going to send a message back into Telegram as a response. All right, so let's just take a quick look at this agent. So I'm going to put this into active mode. And essentially what this will do is it will be running all of the time now, listening for messages on Telegram. So if you want to put this into production, you need to activate it. So I'm going to click OK. I have Telegram installed on my phone. What I'm going to show you now is the Telegram window. So I'm talking with the agent here. Hey, show me the meetings in my calendar this week. All right, so it's telling me here are the meetings that I've got in my calendar for the week. I've got a gym session on Friday, and I've also got a meeting on Friday as well at 4 p.m. There's no other meetings in my calendar, so that sounds right to me. Let's see if we can go ahead and actually create a meeting now. Can you create a meeting called study time at 4 p.m. tomorrow? Okay, perfect. So it looks like it's created a meeting for me. Let's just take a quick look at my calendar. You can see here it's actually gone ahead and created the meeting for me. Obviously, we could change things like the duration or invite people to this meeting as well, but that looks good to me. And then finally, let's see if we can actually go and delete that meeting as well. Can you delete the meeting called study time tomorrow, which is at 4 p.m.? Okay, perfect. So it looks like it's deleted the meeting tomorrow. Let's just double check my calendar to see if that's worked. And you can see that the meeting has now disappeared from my calendar. All right, so let's go through step by step how to build this together. So the first thing we're going to need to do is connect to Telegram. In order to use Telegram, you are going to need to set up a bot. So the way you do that, the instructions are over here, creating a new bot. You will start a conversation with a bot father. You will decide on a name for your bot, and what you'll get back is a token once you've gone through the steps here. So let me just quickly show you. This is the bot father. I have a chat here, and I've clicked start, and I have a couple of options. I can create a new bot, or I can edit or go and review any of the bots that I've already created. So once you've gone and set up a bot, just follow the instructions here, and then you will get a token back at the end. And the token is what you're going to use. So let's say on message. We will need to add a credential. I already have one set up, but the first time you do this, the token you get back when you configure your bot, you're going to put it into here, and then you're going to create your credential. All right, so I already have this set up. So let's just test out this flow. This is a test message. All right, you can see here what I got through was an audio message. You can see here it says voice, and it's got a file ID. So that's looking good. Okay, so we have the initial trigger. And so if this is a voice message, we're going to need to transcribe it in order to pass it into our AI agent. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put an if statement here. And what we're going to say is if this voice parameter is present, so we say, let's drag this in here. we say if there is a voice parameter that exists, so we click on object exists, and let's just test that. So if there is a voice component to this message, we need to transcribe it, and we will go into the positive branch. But if it's just a regular text message, we'll go into the false branch. So let's take a quick look at how that works. Let's just test this workflow again. So if I just send a text message, hello, you will see that I triggered the false branch because the response that came back here was it just said text. So if there's no voice component, it's going to go into the false branch, and if it's got a voice component, it's going to go into the positive branch. So the next thing we need to do is if it is an audio file, we need to transcribe it. So we're going to get the file. So we're going to go to Telegram, get a file, and the file ID is going to come in from the previous node. So we need to just run this again, just so I can test it. All right, let's just run this again. This is a test message. Okay, great. Let's add a get a file. Telegram, get file, and then this is the file that came through. So what we need to do is pass in that file ID essentially, and we want to leave download as true. And then we run this step, we get data back. This is just the raw data for the file. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pass this into OpenAI Whisper. So we click on OpenAI, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on transcribe a recording. You will need an OpenAI credential already set up. I do have one, and for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to assume that you already have a credential set up for OpenAI. And we're just going to pass through the data, and when we run this step, perfect. So that was pretty quick. It transcribed the message that I sent via audio, and it's converted it into text. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a code block. So what this code block is going to do is going to say, regardless of whether it's an audio message or whether it's a text message, we want a single field that comes out that we're going to pass into our AI agent. So I have a snippet of code here, and this code, essentially what it does is pretty simple. Essentially what it's going to say is when we get a message, if there is text, we're just going to return the message text. But if it is if it's not text, then we're going to return the transcript essentially. So we're going to copy this into the code block and replace all of that. And let me just test this step. Okay, perfect. So we just get an output, regardless of whether it's an audio file or a text file, we're going to get a text output, and that allows us to pass that then into our AI agent. And what we want to do then is also wire in our false branch as well. So regardless of whether it's an audio file or a text message, we just get one output. So the next thing we're going to want to do is create our AI agent. So we are going to find an AI agent. We are going to leave a tools agent. We are going to define our own prompt, and we're going to pass in the text from the previous step. So this is either going to be our audio message or our text message that we get from Telegram. And we need to add in then a system prompt. So the prompt I'm using for this automation is actually pretty simple. What it says is, you are a helpful calendar assistant and the current time is now. This is a really important part because the agent doesn't have an awareness of what time of day it is or what date it is. So this is very useful, especially if you're working with a calendar. And then we define 3 capabilities. We say you have access to get meetings, to create meetings, and to delete meetings. And then we just have a set of really simple instructions for each of those steps. We say that you need to pass in these parameters. We say things like, if we don't specify a particular day or date for the listing, just assume we're talking about today. So you can pass in some defaults here. This is the prompt. It's pretty simple. So I'm going to paste this in to my workflow, and we're going to make it an expression. And so you can see now the current time is expanded. We have our instructions for viewing events, for creating events, and for deleting events. The key thing to pay attention to here is that we do need to pass in the time parameters into our Google Calendar tools, which we're going to create in a second. This to me is the difference between an AI agent and as a workflow. We're allowing the AI agent to make a decision based on what we ask it to do. The agent is making a decision about what parameters to pass into our tools, essentially. All right, so this now needs a chat model. I'm going to use Claude. By default, there is not an option to select Claude 3.7, but if you make this an expression, you can go ahead and change this to Claude 3-7 Sonnet. And if you make this latest, that's just going to use Claude's latest 3.7 version. I definitely recommend using Claude 3.7. It's much better at this kind of thing than 3.5. We're also going to add memory to our AI agent. So we're going to use window buffer memory, which is going to, let's go to the Telegram trigger. And what we're going to use for the session ID or the session key is going to be the chat message. The memory is really useful for your AI agent because it can remember the past conversations you had. And if we have this kind of conversational flow, which is back and forth, we want the agent to be able to remember what we said previously, so that has the context. All right, so we have memory, we have a chat model, and the next thing we need to do is to add the tools. So we're going to add a Google Calendar tool. We're going to add 3 tools. So the first tool is going to be able to get list meetings. So we're going to do get many. And this is my personal calendar. And the thing that we need to change here is these parameters. So as we said before, we need the AI agent to control the parameters it sends to our tool. So if we ask to show meetings for next week, we need to inject the start time and the end time that it searches within. So the way we do that is to use these operations down here. We say from AI time min. So essentially what we're doing is we're allowing the AI to pass in the start time and the end time. So I'm going to change these to be from AI, and I'm going to do the same for the other times as well. So after is the start time and before is the end time. Okay, perfect. This all looks good to me. We're just going to rename this to be Get Meetings. It's always good to name your tools so that you don't forget what they actually do. Okay, perfect. So now we have an AI agent that should be able to essentially get meetings from my calendar. The final thing we want to do is pass the message back into Telegram. But let's just run this now to see if this actually works. Get all meetings this week. Okay, you can see it's executing. It's gone to fetch the meetings, so this looks good. Okay, so that seemed to have succeeded. Yeah, you can see here are your meetings for the remainder of the week. It's basically gone to my calendar. It's seen that the meetings I have are on Friday. This seems to be working fine. So the next thing we need to do now is take the message we got from the AI agent, and we need to put it back into Telegram to send a message back. So we go to Telegram and we do send a text message. The chat ID is going to be the original trigger. So when we initiate the conversation, we pass in a chat ID, and that's going to be what we use here. And the text is going to be what we get back from our AI agent. So we're just going to put the output here. You could format this if you like. You could use HTML or Markdown, I believe, but let's just keep it really simple for now. Let's test this step. So what that should do, I can see the message came through. We've sent the message back then into Telegram. Here are your meetings for the remainder of this week. Friday, gym session, and then I've got a meeting on Friday afternoon as well. Okay, so this is looking good. So the only other thing we need to do now is add in the additional tools. So let's quickly do that. We need to add another calendar tool. And what we're going to do here is create an event. So we're going to create events. I'm going to choose my personal calendar. And again, we need to make sure that the AI agent can control the start time and the end time for this event. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy across these parameters. So the start time is from AI start time. And then the end time is the same, from AI end time. So we're allowing AI to control this event. The other thing we want to do is when AI creates the meeting in our calendar, we need to make sure it can set the title of the meeting or the summary of the meeting, so we can add additional parameters here. You can also do things like adding attendees as well. I'm going to keep it simple and skip that. But if you want to add additional attendees to your meeting, you're going to need to allow AI to essentially add attendees to the meeting. So what we're going to do is set the summary. And again, we're going to need to bring this in and allow AI to do this for us. So we can say from AI event name. Let's do that one. Okay, perfect. So now AI should be able to create a meeting. And then the final tool we want to add is the ability to delete a meeting. So let's add another calendar tool. We're going to call this delete. This is going to be my personal calendar. And the event ID is going to come from the agent itself. So I need to make this dynamic. So again, we're just allowing AI to pass in. So from AI event ID, and you'll notice this correlates to what we have in our prompt. So if you just go back to the prompt, you'll see when deleting events for event ID, provide the exact event ID from the get meetings result. So when we delete a meeting, what we do is we call Google's API to get back a list of meetings, which will include the meeting ID. And then we pass that ID into the delete operation so that we can delete that specific calendar event. All right, so that looks good to me. Let's just rename this one again. Delete meeting. And let's rename this one as well. So create meeting. Okay, perfect. Let's just save that. We should have everything we need now to list meetings, create meetings, and delete meetings. Let's just give this a test. So what we're going to try and do is create a meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. Let's see if we can do that. Create a meeting called Gym tomorrow at 4 p.m. Okay, it looks like it's calling the right tool. And it's done the right thing. So great, I've successfully created your gym meeting for tomorrow. Just to show you, you can see here, this is the response that we got back from our agent. It's given it the correct title. It set it for 4 p.m. tomorrow, which is Thursday. Looks good. And we'll just check our calendar to be sure. Yep, it's created the meeting in our calendar, but one thing it's done wrong is it's passed in the wrong value here. So this is because I didn't make this an expression. So you need to click on the expression button here, and that will dynamically now expand that to be the right title. All right, just as a final thought, although we're using this automation to build a calendar assistant, the exact same pattern can be used to have any kind of automation where you're using Telegram or a chat application to communicate with an AI agent. This could be a calendar management application. It could do pretty much anything. It can send out emails. It can do basically whatever you want. You can use the exact same pattern, but you can change, obviously, the behavior then of the AI agent. But this workflow you can reuse in all kinds of different scenarios. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feedback, or requests for things you'd like me to build for you, feel free to put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.